Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whoever you are, wherever you are, whenever it is for you. For me, it is just past midnight on the 25th of February, 2026, which makes this the news and events for February 24th, day 1462 of Russia's war of aggression against the people of Ukraine. How do you do? I'm Peter Alexievich, and this is the Live at 5 from Kyiv. Coming to you live from Norway, actually. I'm actually in Norway on this fourth anniversary of the full-scale invasion. And as Dusty, our buddy Dusty, correctly pointed out last night, it may be the 4-year anniversary of the full-scale invasion, but it's been 12 years of war. Let's not forget that as we remember the events of today. The peeps are coming in. Hey, Sarah. How you doing? Hey, Truth Hurts. Hey, Sav Master. Hey, Alex. Hey, Bjorn. Sweden is in the house. Hey, Chef Deb. Hey, Super User. Hey, Coffin. Hey, Neil Steven. Andreas, thank you. I appreciate it. It is nice to not be moving, to not be rushing to catch a train or a plane or a bus, to be warm and well fed, and to have lights. I will never take electricity for granted again. I will never take hot water for granted again. It really, when you are denied these basic necessities of a modern existence, it really is tough, boy. Hey, Steve. Hey, Lola. Hey, Gary. Hey, Eli. Hey, Feisty. Hey, Jan. How you doing, Jan Halverson? Hey, Anthony Tommy Tom. Thanks, Alex. I have not been on Patreon today, so I will have to check. Hey, Maria Holm. How you doing? Hey, Gary. Hey, Flip. How you doing, Flip? Hey, Alice. Hey, Pugga Mahone. Hey, Guard. Hey, Clive Sutton. How's everybody doing? Hey, Bernard. Hey, Den. Hey, Little Red. The peeps are coming in. There's Arna. Hey, Arna, you got any honey? I was looking for some honey for the tea. I couldn't find any honey. Oh, the gang is here, Neil Steven. On this fourth anniversary of the full-scale invasion. And guys, I'll tell you, I've been trying all day. Hey, Hetty Yankee. I've been trying all day to figure out what I was going to say tonight. And I'll tell you honestly, I don't even know where to begin. Anything I say, it sounds so disingenuous, or it sounds self-involved. Like, what am I supposed to talk about on this fourth anniversary of this nightmare, this full-scale invasion that started by this genocidal lunatic in the Kremlin? What am I supposed to say? Am I supposed to talk about the resiliency of the Ukrainian people, their strength, which is a real thing? Believe me, I see it every day. But it's tough to talk about when I know how fucking tired everybody is. When I know how much everybody just wants this to be over and to get their lives back. How hard this has been for the Ukrainians, and now the situation in Kyiv. I told you last night, I talked to people in Kyiv, and they tell me, oh, it's good, it's good. You know, lights are on a lot of the time now. The heat is back on. But don't come back. Like, stay away until spring. because nobody wants to talk about how bad it is for them. I know for a fact everybody in Kyiv is sick. They're getting hit. It's cold and flu season, right? But when it's cold and flu season and your heat is in and out, your lights are in and out, you don't have any hot water. There's been no city hot water, no municipally supplied hot water in Kyiv for 2 months. 2 months. If you don't have your own boiler, you don't have hot water. And so naturally, the cold and flu season, which is bad every year no matter what, is intensely worse. Everybody is getting hit with there's like 3 big viruses, COVID and RSV and some other one going around. And everybody's just passing it to everybody in this nightmare of where there's a real lack of normal modern hygiene because there's no hot water. People are exhausted. They are tired. They are cold. They are sick. And on this 4-year anniversary of the full-scale invasion, it is important to remember, as our buddy Dusty pointed out last night, that it may be the 4-year anniversary of the full-scale invasion, but this war has been raging for 12 years. The illegal annexation of Crimea happened in 2014. The Donbass War was started by Vladimir Putin and, Strelkov, Igor Girkin, in 2014. And it hasn't stopped. It hasn't stopped. So I'm not entirely sure what we're going to talk about tonight, to be honest. But let me start by thanking, I did not see Ben Tilley come in, but Ben Tilley is the sponsor of tonight's live. And so on this 4-year anniversary, let's all thank Ben Tilley. Appreciate it, Ben. Maddie, send me a direct message when you have a chance, would you? Maddie Wright, send me a DM when you have a chance. Thanks. There's Ben Tilley. Thanks, Ben. You know, I was talking to a friend of mine tonight in Kyiv, and she doesn't want to talk about the 4-year anniversary. She doesn't want to look back on anything. She is laser focused on the future. In her words, why should we dwell on the past when there is so much to get done? And that's, you know, you can say that's a good attitude to have, right? Because there really is a lot to get done. And if instead of looking backward for a moment, we look forward, think about what 2026 could be for the Ukrainians. Nostalgia is a poison, so let's not get too nostalgic. Instead, let's talk about what's happening right now and what 2026 might mean for Ukraine. Russia is suffering. Its economy is fragile. International sanctions are biting, driving the price of Russian Urals crude down to below $40 a barrel, cutting off Putin's main source of funding for the war. We have good evidence to indicate that for the first time since the war began, the Russians can't recruit as many men as they are losing. Last month alone, January of 2026, saw what we believe to be a 13,000 troop deficit. They lost 13,000 more troops than they were able to recruit. You keep losing 13,000 more troops than you can replace on the front line. It won't be long before you don't have a front line. And even now, we see the Ukrainians. Yesterday, remember in last night's live, the ISW had confirmed that Russia had lost 301 square kilometers. The Ukrainians had retaken 11 settlements and 301 square kilometers. Today, General Syrsky, head of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, is making the claim that 8 more villages have been liberated, and we're now over 400 square kilometers recovered. That's more ground than the Russians took in all of December and January combined. Taken back, liberated inside of 2 weeks. 2026 holds all kinds of potential for the Ukrainian armed forces. Now look, this advance on the front line, we don't know that it's sustainable. It may be a temporary situation because of the recent loss of Starlink, the loss of communications, the ability of the enemy to coordinate. But in Syrsky's words today, the situation around Mariupol, where most of these gains have been made, remains difficult and complex. The Russians, for their part, are pushing back and hitting the Ukrainians with artillery. And of course, we know the reality of what happens when you go on the offensive. That's when you lose people. You preserve a lot of life by staying on the defensive. Going on the offensive exposes you to risk. So the Ukrainians are going to be taking hits. When we think about 2026 and the current situation, the reality is that Putin is more politically isolated than ever. And it is a crime and a sin that the United States federal system of government has been subverted by a malign foreign agent in the service of the Kremlin. But American democracy is not lost yet. And 2026 is a midterm year. That's a good point, Nightshade, right? On the subject of the United States. There was a resolution in the UN today, supportive of Ukraine. The United States is so lost, so far gone down the shithole of fascist obsequience to the Kremlin that they abstained from the vote. My country, the arsenal of democracy, the lighthouse of freedom in the world, abstained from a vote in the UN, not even condemning the Russian invasion, but rather just supporting Ukraine. The inmates are in charge of the asylum. David, the inmates are in charge of the asylum in the United States right now. It is disgusting. It should be an obscenity to every right-thinking American. And I don't know what we're going to do about it. The question of the midterms, though, and why I think it's important relative to the Ukrainian situation, is that there are... Look, Ukraine has 72% support among Americans across the boards, right? The numbers are a little higher for the Democrats than for the Republicans, but it's double-digit support, over 50% on both sides. That's going to play into the midterms. It may force... I don't know, what do you call, could somebody come up with a good name for Russian-loving Republicans? You know, for these, I guess we have one, it's maggots, right? The maggots have to get reelected. In much of America, they will not be able to do it by kissing Putin's ass. that might mean that in the U.S., Putin booty snatchers. I don't know. That sounds kind of fun. I'd like to be a Putin booty snatcher. I'd like to snatch Putin's booty right out of the Kremlin and stick it in The Hague. So these maggots in the United States, they have to get reelected. They can't do it if they're seen openly supporting Russia. So I think what we may see from the maggots is a little bit less rah-rah Kremlin talk, and at least, and maybe not, pro-Ukrainian talk, but at least they'll tone down the pro-Kremlin bullshit. And they won't be as destructive to Ukraine as they have been. Maybe that's why Trump wants a resolution to the Ukraine crisis by June. Not just because that's when Putin runs out of money, because by all accounts, the Kremlin will be broke by June. But maybe it's because of the midterms. He'd like to get it done so that he doesn't appear so much in Putin's pocket as his party stumbles its way into the midterms. So, at any rate, yeah, but Mark, right? Mark is saying, no, they won't. Trump's got them programmed to obey. You're right. The maggots he's got programmed to obey. No, that's not true of normal Republicans. It's not true of normal Republicans. Anyway, it's just a thought of what might happen. And the point that I am trying to make is that 2026 could well be the breakout year for Ukraine. This is the year. It looks like it's the year where things are going Ukraine's way, despite the suffering that is being inflicted on the Ukrainian civilian population. When I think about the four-year anniversary, I do think about Ukrainian resiliency. I do think about Ukrainian innovation. I do think about how grateful I am that Ukraine is the shining light that it is. If Ukraine loses, we are in for another century where the oligarchs just get their way, where the Donald Trumps of the world can buy and sell people because they think they have the right to do that. Okay, well, Maddie, you can DM me. Right? I'll look for it. Don't worry. On the subject of Viktor Orban causing trouble, you are right. Viktor Orban is causing trouble. And it is amazing to me. So Viktor Orban and Fico are both causing trouble. But Orban is really causing trouble. Now, that's not my friend, Dusty. Boo-hoo, quit crying. What Dusty is this? Charles Salden, using the name of a friend of mine so that he doesn't get blocked. Quit crying. Do we cry a lot here? Do I cry a lot here? Give me a fucking break. Thank you, Pete. Okay. So, Thank you, Van. Thank you. I appreciate that. Crying with laughter. Crying with laughter. I wish there was something funny today. Ah, funny, David. Very funny. Thanks, J-Boy. I wish there was something funny today. I guess the closest thing that I have to something funny to say is Fico made all that noise about cutting off electricity sales to Ukraine. And yet, according to the data, right, the tracking data for electricity in Europe, the electricity is still flowing from Slovakia to Ukraine today. So that's great. Hey, Dutch. Yeah, no worries, man. Sorry I missed you when I was in town. The female hockey team did say no to Trump, and good for them. This fucking asshole. Did you hear what he said about having he was talking to the male team and congratulating them on their win, and he invited them to the White House, and he said, oh, I guess we have to have the girls here too. Oh, I mean, the guy is such a piece of shit. I'll never understand how any American of conscience voted for him. And what worries me is that all of those Americans who voted for him don't have a conscience. I don't know how else you do it. Yeah, I wish he'd get impeached. Okay. So, regarding Orban is causing problems. He is going to block the $90 billion EU loan to Ukraine. I don't even know how he's doing it because they voted on it 2 months ago and it was supposed to have been approved. So I don't know if it's some process where you can object inside of the EU Commission or what it is, but he is moving to block that aid. And that would be devastating for Ukraine, especially right now. Right now, with the power grid so fragile, it would be devastating. Now, the reason, of course, that he claims he's saying this, now dig it, because this is important. The reason that he claims he's saying this is that he wants oil supplies routed back to Hungary. The only thing is, the pipeline that was damaged, that has stopped oil deliveries to Hungary, was damaged in Russian shelling. The Russians damaged it themselves. Now look, I can't prove this, but it would not be the first time that the Russians have damaged themselves in order to try to damage Ukraine. I believe, and again, I don't have evidence for it, but I believe that it is not unlikely that the Russians hit that pipeline themselves and then turned to Orban and said, hey, if we weren't in this war with Ukraine, you'd be getting your oil. You should blame this on the Ukrainians and stop that loan. Stop that loan. Russia knows that they are in an existential fight now. Whoever runs out of money first loses. That $90 billion will sustain Ukraine for 2 years. 2 years of fighting at the current pace. Russia doesn't have 2 years worth of money left. They don't. By all accounts, by all analysis, July is the deadline. The Russians can't keep it up. We're already seeing that despite these insane signing bonuses, right, in St. Petersburg today, you can sign a contract for the special military operation and you can get 4 million rubles. One of the highest premiums that's been paid during this war. So people from all over Russia go to St. Petersburg to sign a contract. They don't sign it out in their home provinces where they've run out of money and can't pay signing bonuses anymore. At least 11 federal districts of the Russian Federation are so broke that the number one priority, signing bonuses for the special military operation, cannot be paid. Cannot be paid. Twenty 2026 is the breakout year. It is. How long it's going to take is anybody's guess. There are reports that in the south, in the Zaporizhia, Dnipropetrovsk border region there, around Huliopol, where the Ukrainians are making so many gains, there are lots of reports of Russian surrender and even of some lines breaking. But that is not to be confused with a breakout moment. I also saw a video today of Russians who refused to surrender, who died to almost the last man rather than give in. The last man did finally surrender, badly wounded. But the rest of them fought to the end. Russian artillery is pounding Ukrainians as they try to move forward. Success is coming in small gains that now have accumulated to more land than the Russians took in all of December and January put together. No, Dutch, I'm gone, man. I'm sorry. I missed you out there, pal. So, I wish we could fast forward. I would give anything to be able to fast forward through the pain that is yet to be had. Russia's not doing well at all without Starlink Aces High. It's believed that that's why the Ukrainians are making so much progress. Why the Ukrainians have gone from just holding the line to moving forward is the lack of communications and coordination among the Russians. And yes, as Clive correctly points out, the Russians are using barrier troops, to block any Russian retreat. So any Russian who tries to retreat gets shot by his own people. Well, not his own people, by Chechens mostly. It's mostly Chechens that are acting. The Chechens don't fight in the war. They shoot Russians who try to flee and spend the rest of their time torturing African conscripts who have been shanghaied into a frontline position. Jaggy, there's no doubt that Russia is losing. I mean, it's just that simple. Russia has already lost this war. Russia has failed to achieve a single strategic goal in 4 years. In 2 years, it took them 2 years to go from Avdiivka to Pokrovsk and capture a small, unimportant city. And in fact, Pokrovsk is not even fully captured. For all intents and purposes, it has fallen to the Russians. But in fact, there's still fighting going on inside Pokrovsk. Russia's Transneft has cut crude oil intake into its pipeline system by about 250,000 barrels a day. Boy, it's a bad day for Transneft, huh, Nightshade? Not only because there's nowhere for the oil to go. The Indians have stopped buying. The Turks have cut their purchases to a third of what they were buying in, say, August. Now, the Chinese are pulling up some of that slack, I gotta admit. But the Chinese, at least, are squeezing the Russians for $36 a barrel. $36 a barrel. But I say it's a bad day for Transneft because the UK put on its 20th sanctions package today against the Russian Federation. And one of the entities sanctioned is Transneft. Transneft, right? We've all heard of Rosneft. We've all heard of Lukoil, Gazprom, the biggest oil and gas businesses inside of Russia, mostly state-owned. And Transneft is the same, only Transneft is the oil pipeline, the distribution network. And now Transneft has been sanctioned by the UK as well. The fact that they've cut 250,000 barrels of oil into the pipeline a day means that they don't have any place to put it. Russia never had much storage capacity to begin with. They lived in a just-in-time delivery world like we all do in the 21st century, where they took the oil out of the ground, sent it to the refinery, it got refined, or it got put on ships or through other pipelines out to be sold to the world, and that was it. It didn't hang around. What little storage the Russians have had has been badly damaged by the Ukrainians. Further to that, their customers are disappearing. They don't have the customers to take it. So eventually they are going to have to cut production. That means shutting down wells. And wells, once they're shut down, are not easy to restart. It's not like turning on a tap, right? Not at all. So it's a bad day for Transneft. No. So Aces High wants to know, is this also why they couldn't use Telegram, no internet? No, that's not why. They can't use Telegram because Putin is a paranoid lunatic who is convinced that assassination plots and coup attempts are being organized on Telegram. Now, he may be right, because as far as I know, the Russian FSB has access to everything that's on every Russian Telegram server. They might as well call it Kremlin fucking gram. So the whole Telegram thing is a self-inflicted wound. Now, you can say, well, wait a minute, you can't tell me that the Russian military is using Telegram to coordinate activities and send classified information. Oh, yes, I can. Oh, yes, I can. That's exactly what they use it for. Because it's Russia, baby. Might as well be potato. Peter, what happened to Lukoil? I was hoping the 15th of January would see the orcs collapse. No, sadly, no, Clinkers Kelly. The 15th of January, for me, was a deadline wherein the Russians could no longer hide just how bad things are. And I've been proven right about that over and over again. The deadline for collapse looks to be about July 4th, probably. July 1st, that time frame. Lukoil finally came to an agreement to sell all of its assets to, I forget who. I mean, it doesn't matter. They're not going to see a dime of it. The money's going to go into holding, into an escrow account. So it's not going to get to Russia anyway. Lukoil's in trouble. Lukoil's in a lot of trouble. They are losing their customers. They are losing their distribution networks. Oh, on the subject of Russian oil, Bloomberg recently reported that the Russians are storing 190 million barrels of oil on the Shadow Fleet tankers, just circling out in the ocean with nowhere to go, no customer to sell their oil to. I see Nightshade mention the fire at, where is it, Koloninko? It's a large oil depot storage facility. There's a 50,000 square meter tank that's currently burning. It may have ignited its neighbor. And there is a second fire at what may be a third large tank on the territory of the oil depot. Drew is right. We need more sanctions. Right? This is the thing, Drew. We got to step up here. There is no reason we haven't grabbed the frozen Russian money and given it to the Ukrainians, except that a bunch of bean counters in Belgium want to hold on to it. It's good for business. It's good. Yeah, we have 300 billion euros. Yeah, it's good for business. Jesus fucking Christ, people. Orban is a problem, old and grumpy. Yes, he is. No, Pete, that's not accurate. I mean, he may have given it to them. He may have given it to them. I think you'd be hard-pressed to get that out of him. So Pete's suggesting that maybe the French have access to Telegram because they had the founder of Telegram in custody for a while. And there were rumors that maybe he gave them access to the encryption keys so that they could encrypt and decrypt Telegram data. It's not impossible, but I don't know it to be true. Oh, Russia shut everything off, Bjor. The WhatsApp, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, none of it works in Russia. Yeah, right? You know, we're shocked and amazed that the Russians are sending classified information via Telegram when our own Secretary of Defense, Pete Kegsbreath, is doing it on WhatsApp. Stupidity beyond words. Australian sanctions are targeting the Shadow Fleet. Good. Is there an opponent to Orban in the April election? There is, Mike, but I don't know anything about him. I should look that up. I should do a little reading on the upcoming elections. Orban is underwater. He's down by, I think the last number I saw was 15 points. The question is it going to be a free and fair election? Interesting, Dutch. I don't know that to be true. Dutch is saying that he heard on the radio today that Europe will grant the $90 billion to Ukraine despite Orban. I don't know how he can object. That time was 60 days ago. So I don't know. NATO should definitely be trying harder to help Ukraine. The problem is America is actively supporting Russia. It's just insane to me. A potato is better than Orban. You can French fry it. There is already Kremlin interference in the Hungarian elections. That's already a thing. They're already trying to influence social media, right? They pay people to get on social media and pretend to be Hungarians and say stupid things about the opposition or lie about the opposition and say good things about Orban. It's already happening. McNally is saying that Ursula von der Leyen said that the EU has ways to give the money. Good. Good, good, good. Trump is a Russian asset. Yeah, I don't know that he's been compromised. I think he's just a piece of shit. I think he's just a wannabe dictator, narcissistic fuck who is completely un-American, who does not believe in our system of government, does not share our values, and is just looking to destroy the U.S. so he can be dictator for life of North America. I don't think he needs to be compromised to be working for Putin. The money is likely enough. The money and the power. European Parliament signed off on the loan today. Awesome. If Trump loses the midterms, what's the impact on Ukraine? It's a great question, Mike. Just losing the midterms, right, is not enough. We got to wait until the next Congress gets in. And then we've got to get them to pass some laws. And the difficulty here is that Putin's puppet, Trump, will then veto those laws. Then they have to go back to Congress for another vote. All the while, Trump's tariff policies are being litigated. It is so disturbing to watch my country paralyzed and impotent in the face of open corruption, that there is no one who can stand up to this orange turd and his bunch of goons and goblins. It's ridiculous. Is Ukraine still in Tetkino? Yes. What is today now? The 24th of February. That means August, September, October, November, December, January, February. That means that for 1 year, 6 months, and 18 days, the Ukrainians have been going to bed and waking up in control of Russian territory. Still in Tetkino. Oh, Jedi, don't talk to that guy. I blocked him. What's your proof that Trump is a Russian asset? Everything he does? Everything he does is a gift to the Kremlin? That his board of peace, his Gaza board of peace or whatever he's calling it, is nothing but a rogues gallery of dictators? He's in it for himself, Clive, exactly. What is the state of AI technology in Russia? It's been stolen from other places. The Russians do not innovate. They have no idea. That's why they use off-the-shelf components in their weapon systems from foreign manufacturers. Can you imagine if we did that in the U.S.? Anybody tries to do that, do you remember somebody used a Japanese component in, I don't know, I think it was Sidewinder missile production about 15 years ago. And the Pentagon went crazy with good reason. You want to know that nobody else has access to your shit. Vance is worse than Trump. They're all bad. I mean, none of it is any good. Right, Dutch, their board of peace. Just block him, Jedi. Just block him. Just go to his account and hit the arrow button and block. What idiot asked that question? Oh, nobody. Don't worry about it. If Trump wasn't a Russian asset, they would be doing nothing differently. Exactly. Mike Kelly, that $10 billion that Trump gave to the Board of Peace was stolen from the Department of Education. The tax dollars you pay so that your children and your neighbor's children get an education was stolen by Donald Trump and put into a Qatari bank account that only he has access to. I mean, this open pilfering of the Treasury is unbelievable. And Drew hits it on the heads. Call your reps. Let's ramp up the pressure on these guys. Things in Kharkiv are very stable. Very, very stable in Kharkiv. The front is not moving at all and has not moved for some time. Okay, guys, we got about 13 minutes left. Sorry, pardon me. We got about 13 minutes left. I want to thank Ben Tilley, who is the sponsor of tonight's live. Last night we had Seawolf and Nutmegger. Tonight it's Ben Tilley. Tomorrow night it's Arna. And though Arna should be like our sponsor forever at this point, I don't know, without him there might not be a channel. There might not be a me. Anyway, so big thanks to Ben Tilley. Tomorrow night, Wednesday, Arna is our sponsor. Still looking for sponsors for Thursday and Friday. If anybody can sponsor a live, that would be great. I got to figure out how I'm getting back to Kyiv. And I intend to be back in Kyiv for March 7th. So that's the next goal, is to get home. And with hopefully a little warmer weather and a more predictable power grid. I am hearing that the power is on more these days than it has been. Okay, big thanks to Ben Tilley, who's the sponsor of tonight's live. Big thanks to Nightshade, who has the Peter's Peeps group on the Book of Faces. Lars, who has the Discord server. And, of course, to the best moderator team on the Tickety Talk, Feisty, Maddie, Pete, and Travis. Thank you, guys. All right, so questions, comments on this 4-year anniversary that we spent looking forward rather than looking back. Questions, comments, or points of observation. Is Ukraine attacking Russian cities close to Moscow? Ukraine doesn't attack cities as much as they attack military and defense industrial base, regardless of where that is. So we've seen strikes against drone factories almost 2,000 kilometers from Ukraine, way out there in Tatarstan. But that's a drone factory, right? So not so much, it's not so much that Ukraine is hitting Russian cities. Now, there are exceptions to that. Certainly, Belgorod is an exception. Belgorod is right across the border from Ukraine. And in response to the attacks on Ukrainian energy infrastructure, the Ukrainians have been targeting the energy infrastructure in Belgorod. It is amazing to me. Hundreds of thousands, thanks Nightshade, hundreds of thousands of Russian citizens in Belgorod have been without power, without heat, without water, for weeks, some of them. And Russian official news is, all Ukrainian drones shot down, attacks repelled, no effect. It's like in the Soviet Union in the days of the Holodomor, where they told you that the state was prosperous, and because the state was prosperous, you were prosperous, and there was no famine, there was no hunger, but you looked out your window and there were people dying. It's that kind of cognitive dissonance. Oh, Rostov gets hit every day, Bobby. Rostov gets hit every day. There's some piece of shit on YouTube who does an American no less, who does live streaming from Rostov. He can't live stream after 8 p.m. anymore because they shut down the internet in Rostov at 8 p.m. So that when the drone attacks come, nobody uploads video footage. Rostov's getting pounded, brother. Make no mistake. No, old and grumpy. 13,000 kilometers would be in orbit of the Earth. The missile factory was 1,400 kilometers from Ukraine. The longest range missile strike, because it wasn't a drone strike, it was a Flamingo missile strike that hit the Vatolnitsky, something like that, missile plant. Specifically, it was, wait, I can tell you. Hold on, I have it right here. Specifically, it was building number 19, I want to say. Building number 19 of the Votkinsk plant. Building number 19 specifically is the stamping and electroplating workshop where missile body components are shaped and coated before final assembly. Now, if you can't shape and coat your missile body components, do you have a missile? No, you do not. So this was a critical strike by a very large missile, a very, very large missile. The Flamingo, which carries over 1,000 pounds of TNT, a ton of TNT equivalent. 1,050 kilograms is the warhead. Let's see. Russian staging area for attacks is totally fair game in war. Oh, hell yeah, it is. Could shutting off oil to Hungary boost Orban's chances in the election? That's a very interesting question, TikToker. You know, we think sometimes that by causing suffering to our enemy, it will turn support against him. But sometimes instead it becomes a unifying force for those attacked. Like we see in Belgorod. The Russian people aren't screaming for the war to end because they're sitting in the cold and the dark. They're screaming for their government to murder more Ukrainians because they're sitting in the cold and in the dark. So it's a tricky business. It's a very tricky business. It's a very interesting question, TikToker. I don't know the answer off the top of my head. But I think it's a great question to ask. Night, Dutch. Thanks for stopping by, pal. It would seem Putin is now playing the victim due to power blackouts. He's been playing the victim all along. Is the Yaroslav one, Peter? He used to do TikTok lives. He was wanted by FBI for January 6th, but escaped to RF. Really? No, not Yaroslav. I hate that piece of shit, though, Nightshade. I hate that piece of shit. Holy cow, I hate that piece of shit. Fucking Americans, the shit that comes out of their mouths. No, this guy calls himself Captain with a K, Comrade with a K. Captain Comrade Ron. He's 1K shy of the KKK. Hey, Birdie. Oh, I'm sorry, you meant 1,300 kilometers. I got you. Sorry. Do we know if only metal stamping and electroplating shop there? No, Björ, there's quite a bit more there. Why that particular workshop would be hit, I don't know the answer. But I promise you that if that's the workshop that the Ukrainians targeted, It's because they knew that that would create the most delays for getting new Iskander missiles out. Because it's the Iskander that comes out of there that we really worry about. They make Oreshniks there too, but who cares? That's a $120 million pop boondoggle. They make ICBM components there, but who cares about those? It's the Iskander and Zircon missiles that are made there that we worry about. That's what's doing all the damage in Ukraine. Russia's getting outwitted and out embarrassed. Yes, they are. Every single day. Ooh, that's a new one. By playing the victim, Putin shows that little Ukraine can cause him pain. Yeah, the Russians all seem to be like these massive egos, these, what's it called, grandiosity, right? They suffer from grandiosity. But it's all wrapped around a white-hot coal of insecurity. The trouble with Putin is he was born. You're not wrong, Clive. Oh, Drew, I'm glad you mentioned that. You're not wrong, of course, but it is worth pointing out. 2 days ago, Zelensky said 80% of Ukraine is without air defense assets. That's a problem. And then today we heard that there was a large delivery of air defense missiles, including Patriot PAC-2s and PAC-3s. Delusions of grandeur. That's exactly right. That's what the Russians suffer from. Delusions of grandeur. Putin thinks he's winning. How can you think you're winning when it took your guys 24 months to go 40 miles from Avdiivka to Pokrovsk, and you still haven't captured Pokrovsk? How do you think you're winning? Your guys have gone 40 miles in the same time it took the Soviet army to go from Moscow to Berlin in World War II. I can get the State of the Union address, but it will be, by the time that it's on, it'll be too late here for me. I'll have to watch it in the morning, Mike. Odessa is extremely vulnerable to missile and drone attack and are attacked all the time. Odessa is not vulnerable to ground attack. The Russians are hundreds of miles away. I'm sorry, Little Red, I can't hear you. That was a joke. That was a funny joke. First time ever, no Trump tonight. Did he cancel the State of the Union? What are you talking about, no Trump? Thank you, Valley Girl. Thanks for tuning in. The Russian people are actually victims of Stockholm Syndrome. They are kidnapped and controlled by the Russian government and mind controlled. You are not wrong. But you know what? That doesn't mean that they're not assholes. They're fucking assholes. I felt bad for about 2 minutes in Warsaw the other day. In Warsaw, I got a cab to the bus station, right? And the Russian was driver. The driver was Russian, not Polish. And I have to admit, I did not tip him. I didn't tip him. And as I'm getting out of the cab, I felt bad about it. I did. I felt bad about it. I'm like, you don't know who this guy is. You don't know why he's in Poland. You're just being a jerk because he's Russian. That's wrong of you. He dropped me off in front of the railway station because there's construction at the bus station, right? I come around the construction barrier, And now I have a 200-meter walk to the bus station. The cabs are pulled in right in front of the bus station. There was no reason he dropped me off 200 fucking meters away with all my luggage to drag across a rain and slush-filled parking lot, other than he's a Russian piece of shit. I swear to God. And I didn't feel one bit bad about not tipping that cocksucker. Fuck him. Fuck him in the ear. Oh, everybody's just skipping the State of the Union because it's Trump. Maddie, remember, send me a message, would you please? Thank you. Dark Irish. Holy shit, everybody. Dark Irish stopped by. Hey, pal, how's your classes going? Dark Irish has been busy engaged in self-improvement, ladies and gentlemen. I haven't gotten into the moose steaks yet. I did have reindeer steak and eggs for breakfast. It's pretty fucking good. Let me tell you. Hey, Anne. How's things in Ireland? Never hear about the F-16. No, they are being used every day, Tom. They're every day they're being used to defend the Ukrainian skies from Russian missile and drones. Every single day, Tom. I did eat reindeer. Not up here, it's not, Seawolf. It was farm raised. It wasn't wild. It was farm raised reindeer. It was quite good. Quite good. It was backstrap. It was delicious. Don't tell Santa Claus on me. But I am defrosting a... Oh, no, I couldn't do it, Arna. I couldn't do it. Do you eat whale, really? I don't think I could do it. They're too smart, man. They're really smart. At home, of course, in the United States, we have white-tailed deer. And I eat a lot of venison at home. But reindeer was definitely a new thing. But yeah, Arna, I had that reindeer this morning with some eggs and some of that nice seed bread that I bought. Beautiful. Every Russian could be fifth column and passing info to the FSB GUR, Rhino. In Russia, the CIA equivalent is the GUR, not to be confused with the Ukrainian GRU, which is the Military Intelligence Directorate of Ukraine. I don't think all the Russians that left early in the war were Spetsnaz, FSB. I think a lot of them were young men who had the good sense to leave behind a dying nation and try to make a better life for themselves. But you are right. Stopping Russians from traveling freely in the Schengen zone should be a priority for the EU. I do not disagree with you. Because there are hundreds of thousands of these bastards coming back from the war. And the last thing you want is them on European soil. You do not want them there. Okay. Big thanks again to Ben Tilley, who is the sponsor of tonight's live. Big thanks to Nightshade, who has the Peter's Peeps group on the Book of Faces. To Lars, who has the Discord server. And, of course, to the best moderator team on the Tickety Talk. Maddie, Feisty, Pete, and Travis. Thank you all. Have a great day, everybody. And even on these anniversaries where we are tempted to look backward, I encourage everybody to keep looking forward. Thank you. No, Rhino, it's G. Oh, God, I got it wrong. No, you're right. I'm so sorry. You're absolutely right. It's the GUR in Ukraine, the Ukrainian Military Intelligence Directorate, and it's the GRU in Russia. I apologize. Rhino is absolutely correct. Night, Gary. Good night, Victoria. Hey, Spirit of Ukraine. How you doing? That is a great question, Monolith, and one that people should be asking. I am wrecked, Ann. My blood pressure has been a little bit high. I have not been sleeping, despite being exhausted. I have to say, I slept the best that I have in over a month last night. 7 hours straight through, and then this afternoon I just collapsed at 3 o'clock and slept like the dead for 3 hours. I couldn't even believe it. Beetroot lowers blood pressure. Eat more reindeer and eggs. No booze for me, Jedi. I'm off the booze. I'm drinking, I got a little ginger tea here. Arna got me green tea with ginger. All right, everybody. Make it a great evening and have a pleasant tomorrow.